ladies, welcome back to my channel. So, I wanted to talk about the whole having a boyfriend being embarrassing and why that is. But on the flip side, I also wanted to kind of highlight the phenomenon, if you will, and that is the increasing number of baddies, quote unquote, who are getting married. And I'd like to compare the two because it really is an interesting dichotomy. On one hand, we have women saying, like, we're finished with men and for good reason. And on the other hand, the least expecting women, the women that society has kind of branded as unmarriageable because they are quote unquote unruly, they do not abide by societal norms, they kind of live life on their own terms. The women that were previously told that they would never be marriageable. The whole you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, even if these women are not quote unquote hoes. These are actually the women who are getting wifed up. So I'd like to discuss this dichotomy and kind of highlight a fact that I always live by, and that's that you cannot live life in black and white. Life is not black and white. There are a lot of gray areas, a lot of nuances in life. But just when you think that, life is normal again and balanced and you've seen all that you can see in life, there will always be something out there to surprise you. In juxtaposition with the whole 4B movement and women choosing to stay single, when you juxtapose that with the increasing number of career, and when I say baddie, I want to define it very loosely. First of all, it's a social construction, so take it with a grain of salt when you hear it on this channel or elsewhere. But it's just a loose term to describe a woman who has it all. And having it all is relative. That depends on your individual goals. But overall, it's a woman who looks good. It's a woman who has her own money. Maybe she's career oriented. Maybe she has a business. She's climbing the corporate ladder. Lisa Milan from The Real Housewives of Dubai and College Hill is a very good example of a baddie who has been married for many, many years and she has 3 kids. But on the heels of the 4B movement, many women are claiming that having a boyfriend is embarrassing. And this is due to the increased standards that a lot of women are getting, particularly in the West. And these increased standards stem from women not wanting to deal with cheating, abuse, lying, manipulation in the name of having a man. And I mentioned previously that we're increasingly seeing this with women in the West, but we're also seeing this with women in the East. So if you go on TikTok, you'll see a lot of African women. I mentioned in my previous video about how religion can be a downfall for women. There are a lot of African women making parodies, making skits. It's like exaggerated satire about particularly pastors' wives and the type of abuse that they endure in the name of having a husband.
I always knew from a young age that I wanted this. I wanted to receive this. And my husband is sitting over there. I'm going to say something very bad. Sometimes, as women, we receive the revelation before the man. We receive the revelation early that here there's a union. I remember for such a long time when I had met my husband, before he was my husband, he would always joke to me and say, but why? Why am I being cursed? Why is it that other men are waking up in the morning, they wake up next to Beyonce, they wake up next to Rihanna, they wake up next to Ciara, they wake up next to Tyler, they wake up next to Nomza Mopata, but Mina, I'm waking up next to you. What kind of bad luck is this? And so for a very long time, I was like, I was questioning myself, but I knew that my God would not put a desire for me to desire someone who did not want me or someone who would never want me. That's not how my God works. That's not how my God works. Until one day I received the revelation that cleared my mind.
Brag about my husband, yes, because you people know him as Papa, as Father, but I know this man as a lover. I know him as my husband, the head of my household, the leader and the angel of the Lord above our house. You see, the thing is, there is no greater mission in life than being this man's wife. Even my degree in engineering does not come close to being a wife and the mother of his children. Even all the years I spent in university doesn't come close. My master's and my PhD, nothing matters except this man right there and the 4 children that he gave me. You see, I am so glad to be a submissive woman unto my husband because this man is a gift of God upon my life. I don't even have time to be worrying about abuse. I don't even have time to speak up for femicide because I'm too busy submitting to the leader of my household. You see, the thing is, it's a good thing to be a woman. It's a good thing to be married. Even if my husband has been accused of sexual assault or any kind of money laundering, I will still be submitted unto him and I will still be his wife because there is no greater call.
And while you may laugh and say, oh, this is crazy and whatever, the fact of the matter is, a lot of the times these situations are true. These situations happen, these conversations happen, and these African women are seeing it and saying, no, I'm not going to put myself through what my mom went through, or what my aunt went through, or what First Lady so and so is currently going through. No way. And there's a lot of women from India in particular. If you go on Reddit, and you go through their forums, a lot of them are starting to call out the hypocrisy and the biases that exist and are pushing back against the whole your worth is embedded in you being a wife and you being a mother. And it's not to demonize being a wife and a mother, and I'll speak to that later. Because being a wife and a mother is not inherently bad. There are many women who enjoy motherhood and who enjoy being a wife, but it is not at the expense of the essence of who they are. It is not at the expense of their health and their mental health. And these women have been strategic and have chosen well, and as a result, are reaping the benefits of a happy marriage and family life. But women are increasingly seeing their worth because they are learning from their mothers and their grandmothers, and they have access to resources to improve their lives that earlier generations didn't have access to. Back then, like, women relied upon being married and being married quickly because in earlier times, women couldn't work. And if women could work, they were only subjected to like those female dominant roles, like secretarial work, being a nurse, being a teacher. And oftentimes those jobs did not pay well because expectation was that you are to be in the home. And if you are working, it's a little bit of change, pocket change for you to help supplement your income. But the expectation was that your husband should be making enough to care for the household. And you should be able to make do with however little or however much your husband earns. But obviously, that's not the case today. Women are and have been entering male dominated spaces, law, medicine, tech, and they are making a lot of money. And even though the gender wage gap still exists, there are in some cases, especially in particular with Black women out earn Black men. People would question why relationships back in the day were more successful, but it's not that they were more successful in the sense that couples staying together was evidence that they were happy, but because marriage, again, was the only form of security for women back in the day. And so having any man, even if he was abusive or he cheated or he was just like boring, like he kind of just fulfilled his duty of marrying you and making sure that you had a roof over your head, but there was no companionship or affection, that was better than being single because your survival depended upon it. It depended on you having a man to take care of you, which is why a lot of men back in the day were horrible. So even though divorce rates were very, very low, women didn't have a choice due to what I just mentioned, but also due to the social stigma surrounding you leaving your husband, which is why there's a running joke. Our grandmothers and women of back in that day, they would be happy when their husband passed on. And this is why so many men were horrible to their women back in the day, because they knew that they had nothing to lose. They knew that their wife was not going to leave, even if he showed up with another child from another relationship. And those same entitled and harmful behaviors in men have persisted over the years. They have not changed. There are countless stories of just the same old rhetoric of men. And when I say men, I'm not talking about all men, by the way. I know that my supporters, I don't have to spell it out to you, but those same entitled, harmful behaviors in men have persisted over the years. But women are increasingly choosing not to deal with the BS because they don't have to. Women have the freedom to choose. We are able to go to school. We are able to have our careers, businesses. And so our survival, our livelihood, because it's no longer in the hands of a man, so to speak, women are realizing, well, if I can't even get companionship from you, like there are many men who don't even like their woman. And there are countless men who even report on this, where they'll be hanging out with a guy and they'll realize that the way that the man speaks about his woman, you can tell like he doesn't even like her. but yet still he's with her.
Ask you a question. Are you in love with your wife? No, me either.
What?
I don't believe in that shit anyway. It's
Okay.
it's overrated.
No,
listen,
Then why?
listen.
Okay.
See.
Y'all need to explain that shit to me then.
And this is the reason why a lot of men end up marrying somebody who's a maid but not a friend.
Bro, I'm gonna throw some your way, and I want you to answer that.
This is the reason why she's washing your clothes. She's doing everything that you want her to do, but you don't want to talk to her. She easily irritates you because you don't even like her.
That's what I want to get to. Thank you for going there.
You don't even like her.
Bro, I've talked to several married men who told me that they don't like their wives. I asked them, well, are you at least friends with your wife? They're like, friends?
I bet they do. I bet they do everything for them, though. They do everything for them, though.
Can I say something?
You make enough money to marry a maid. I mean, to hire a maid. I mean, and then marry a friend, right?
Wow.
If you want, if that's what you want, and so what you.
So because there's really nothing that women are gaining from the relationship, and there are some men, black men in particular, who will say, well, she's going to get access to this good dick. And it's like, dick is a dime a dozen. You can literally get on a dating app one day if you really need that and hook up. There are dating apps specifically for hooking up. And so due to an unwillingness to change and really not bringing anything else to the table, women are realizing that it is indeed embarrassing to have a boyfriend, especially when having a boyfriend is not going to go anywhere, specifically if he's a stereotypical loser that women used to suffer with that I just mentioned. The older that you get, saying that you have a boyfriend is embarrassing. Like, I feel like when you're in your 20s, mid-20s, saying like, oh, that's my boyfriend, whatever, like that's to be expected because at that time, you being married is kind of not expected of you. Like, yes, people are going to start to say, oh, you should plan for marriage and you should start dating so you can find someone to be partnered. But it becomes embarrassing when you start entering your late 20s and up, your 30s and definitely 40s, and you're talking about, oh, that's my boyfriend. Because even though the tide is changing, society still expects you to be married by that time. Why would you adopt that embarrassing title of having a boyfriend if that man can't even do right by you? I don't even take women seriously when they say, oh, my boyfriend, and you're a full-grown woman in your 30s with a child talking about boyfriend. Why is he not your husband? At that point, he is your associate, or why is he not your fiance? A prime example of that is Oprah. Everyone knows about her relationship with Stedman. Oprah has never, first of all, she's never publicly claimed him, but she has never said, and there's many other celebrities like her, they've never come out and said, oh, my boyfriend, this is who I'm dating, because they realize that at your age, and this is not even to place the onus on women. I hope you're catching what I'm trying to put down. The onus is not on women to say like, oh, you failed if by a certain age you're not married. It's to say like, if you are with a man who hasn't done the right thing by you, to say, I'm going to stand up as a man and assume the role as husband, whatever, whether you prescribe to the traditional sense of relationships or not, then it shows that you have a lack of self-esteem because you are with a man who doesn't know his worth, and you are therefore diminishing yourself because you've managed to pair yourself with a man who is damaged goods. We talk about women being damaged goods if they're not married by a certain age, but there's this kind of uncovered stigma attached to men not being married that we don't talk about. We kind of like gloss over it or make jokes about a man being in his 40s, for example, being unmarried without even recognizing that, yeah, that guy's probably a piece of shit, which is why if he's never been married by 40, when there are women who are very, very much man first, pick me, and he could easily pick a woman. If he's not married by 40, it's because either he's gay or he's a straight up loser and he hasn't worked through being a loser. More women are realizing that they can step away from a man and still be okay, and many are finding peace as a result. But on the flip side, I noticed that there's been an increase in the type of women, a certain type of women or woman that has been getting married lately, and that is the quote unquote baddie. And these women are not hoes, but people like to make a direct correlation between being a baddie and being a hoe. Like, if you're not this homely, girl next door type of woman, then you must be a hoe. So these women who were previously called unmarriageable, she's the type of woman who you kind of just admire on social media, or maybe you'll go on a couple dates with her, but you don't take it any further than that. Or maybe she's someone that you just have fun with, and then you go and marry the safe girl, as they call it, the girl next door. These baddies are actually getting married. And it's interesting because they're getting married by good men. They're getting married by men who love, protect, provide, care for them. These women are finding true companionship with these men. So they're able to do things that maybe their mother wasn't able to do with their husbands. Many of them are choosing not to have children, and their husband is fully on board. It's almost as if the good men are hiding themselves for the baddies, for the women that they really want. I know it's going to sound problematic to whoever it offends, but the reality is men are visual creatures. As I've said before, it's a sociological fact that men desire beautiful women, and women, we desire men who have money. And there are losers who will still try to go after the baddie and tie her down the way that I mentioned earlier in the video. But it's almost as if there are men who are choosing to be smarter, quote unquote, if you will, with their choices, by saying and realizing that a lot of women are really becoming the total package. And instead of them having to settle, for lack of a better word, with a girl that maybe they're not attracted to, they can actually get a woman that they find attractive, that is successful in her career, in her business, whatever, someone that's fun to be around, someone that he can actually enjoy being in her company, and, not subject himself to being married to someone that she may be a wholesome girl, she maybe has a good personality, but because he's not attracted to her, and let's face it, men value being attracted to a woman over anything. And you can't tell me otherwise, because men will even get with a toxic, dirty woman, a toxic woman with a horrible personality if she's beautiful, because they value, they will choose her over the average looking woman who has an amazing personality if they have the opportunity to. So don't listen to men who say that, oh, you shouldn't invest in your looks, you shouldn't dress up, blah, blah, blah. They just don't want to have to invest in the time and the effort to be with a woman who looks good. And so they settle for the homely woman. But with that comes a lot of resentment because he's not attracted to her. Once one guy is able to achieve the baddie that's the total package, then it's like, what's your excuse? I was able to achieve this, and I achieved it through doing the hard work and the inner work to not be a toxic man. What's your excuse for being a loser still? And men don't like that, which is why the goalposts will always be moved. You're expected to look your best, but then you're always told that you'll never be marriage material because they automatically assume that, you're a hoe if you are an attractive woman, and God forbid you're an attractive woman who is highly successful, or an attractive woman who is in the public eye. You will always be punished for that. But it seems as if these women, we don't know much about their personal lives, obviously, so take what you see with a grain of salt. But it seems as if these women were able to get paired with someone who loves all of them, who obviously loves how they look, but they also got paired with a woman who was successful in her career, good social standing, whatever. And I always think back again to Lisa Milan. Like, she's a prime example of her man hitting the jackpot and getting her. Because, like, she looks amazing. She has an amazing fit body. Obviously, she probably had like a personal trainer, like a nutritionist or whatever, a dietitian to help her stay on track. But she used her resources to privilege stack and maximize her life, and like, she's living the entire total package. She looks good, she has a man who loves her, she has 3 beautiful children, she has an amazing business. Like, Lisa Milan is honest to God goals. I'm saying all this to say that you truly can have it all, but there is a lot of risk. There's a lot of risk with anything, but there is a lot of risk, or challenges, I should say, in you being the total package. You may have to contend with being okay with being single at the expense of your peace if you're not willing to limit yourself for a man just for the sake of saying that you have a man, but at least like you still have your dignity, your peace of mind, and your beauty. Or you can just be a pick me. But we all know that pick me's never win. And so if that works for you, great. But I highly recommend that you don't be a pick me. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the topic. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.
I'm married. Good for you. You think I did something? दिखाइए.
Thank you.
काफी छोटी इयरिंग आपकी, पर ठीक है ना? I am not married. But see my ring. 15 carats की है. इस ring को बोलते हैं self-made woman.
Self-made.
Yes.
और इसको?
Given by the husband. दिखाओ कैमरे में जरा contrast तो कर लो. Married और unmarried की कहानी.
नहीं सही है, मैं बोलती हूँ अपने हस्बैंड को.
बोलो जरा, he has to up his game.
अच्छा. Love is love.
Love is love.
छोटा है.
कुछ ज़्यादा ही.
You have ring, I have husband.
Good. I prefer the ring. The only carats I'm interested in are the carats in a diamond. ये देखो हंस रहे हैं सारे वहाँ. He wanted an awkward, ना?